Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome, everybody. Today we've got a guest, and her name is Katrina Sawa. She's a sought-after business coach, international speaker, and book publisher. She's known for her no-nonsense approach to helping entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses. With over 2 decades of experience, she has helped thousands of business owners simplify their marketing, automate their operations, and build sustainable revenue streams. As the founder of Jumpstart Publishing, Katrina has also guided over 150 entrepreneurs through the process of becoming a published author, using books as powerful tools to boost their visibility, credibility, and their business. And I'm going to add my own. Katrina's been a friend of mine for quite a few years, and we've done lots of things together and shared stages and published books together and all kinds of things. So she's also a friend, and I'm excited to have her on here because she's busy. So welcome.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me, Ollie.
It's always nice that people can squeeze you in. I'm excited to have you on here because it's a little bit different of a conversation, I think, than we've had on the other shows. And I think our audience, who are mostly retreat leaders, aspiring retreat leaders also, who want to change the world, and we want to make things a better place. And we all have these great ideas of how to do things. And if you're an aspiring retreat leader and you're looking for ideas of the how-to, then Katrina's going to be a great guest to listen to today. So grab a notepad maybe, and if you're driving, don't grab a notepad, please. But listen in, and you might want to come back because we keep these pretty conversational and short. So we'll have some show notes. We'll have Katrina's contact information. So I'll probably say that again at the end to remind you, but it'll all be there. And for now, we just want to listen to what she has to say to us because she's got some great words of wisdom. So that being said, all right, let's talk a little bit about how we can intertwine marketing and promotional things into a retreat leader's business.
Yes. So, I mean, you and I both love doing events. I love them. They can be profitable. Sometimes, though, people do them too early on in their business, I see, and then they're not profitable. Sometimes they're negatively profitable. So I think it's important to really get some guidance. It's not just like grabbing a few of your girlfriends and going on a ski trip or something. It's getting people to pay you to go somewhere, right? And in order to take a vacation, and it's really, especially if you're going to do a destination, it's really a lot more challenging than we like to. Holly and I both try to make it as easy as possible for you. Because she helps you with different aspects. I help you with different aspects. But let's just face it, it's not the easiest business model out of all of them. Especially the destination. So
and we know that.
Real. I don't want to everybody should do a retreat and it's going to be amazing because there's a time and a place to do it. First, you got to think of what is your why? Why do you want to do one? Right. And I mean, if it's to change the world and help people, great, but you probably won't make any money. Focus on the money. You got to focus on the people try to sell it before they really know all the costs. And I'm like, wait. You need to figure out your costs first, So there's a time and a place.
Well, and then the message. Let's talk about that for a minute, because again, I think we get so excited because you've seen people do it. You've seen people make lots of money. I mean, doing a retreat is almost, I would say, the same steps as doing a live event, similar to a summit. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of prep, and you want to be paid for that time. Well, you can't just go and cover your costs because you might have hidden costs in there as well. You can go sideways real quick. I've lost thousands of dollars on events, not realizing all of the steps. It's like a ladder, and you got to take one step at a time. And there is a process. And I think hiring someone to help you with the process is also a cost of doing business that people don't realize. You want to talk about that?
It is. It is the cost of doing business. People don't see it that way sometimes, and it can be built into your expenses for the whatever it is that you're learning, right?
Yeah.
But I know you've invested a lot of money in growing your business and expertise. I've invested over $250,000 in speaker training, event training, retreat training, sales and marketing training. I mean, with masterminds and mentors, and because
Yeah.
what did I want to create? I wanted to create multiple 6 figures or 7 figure business, doing that consistently every year for 20, 30 years. Well, you're not going to do that on, sorry, a few $1,000s. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
But to
It's
get started, like, let's just
yeah,
not scare them away for a second. Back up for a
right.
sec, because I totally agree with you, except we didn't
So
start by telling them over $250,000. This was years and years of building up to that, right?
the first retreats that I did locally. Okay. Now I still stayed in the place. I still stayed in the location, but let's face it, most of my contacts were local. This was way back when, right? So most of my contacts were local. Um, so I did something local, just far enough out of town to where they did have to stay the night, right? Or was more like a getaway kind of thing.
Yep.
And then because also I couldn't afford at the time, I couldn't afford to lose money. So if I wanted to do a destination retreat and I needed 8 people or 10 people, and I wasn't sure, I didn't have the proof that I could get that many people to pay me $2, 3, $4,000, right?
Right.
Then I was a little hesitant to do it. It's funny because we think, I don't know it, but now I've done, I don't even know, probably 15, probably more like 25 retreats, honestly, because I had a mastermind for 14 years and we did
Mhm.
retreats like 3 times a year. So,
Right.
but that's a different kind of a retreat, right? So there's a retreat where it's just a one off and you're trying to sell people into the retreat and that's what they get. And then from there, you might sell them into another type of program or training. Then there's a lot of us, especially that were in the business in the 2000s, right? We had mastermind programs for a year and they usually included 1, 2, or 3 retreats. And so it would all be packaged into the whole year annual pricing, except for maybe travel or something like that. So
That's still a good model, for
and
for people that have a tribe of people and clients already. That's a good model. You want those high ticket sales, for instance, to make retreats part of that. That's a great way to sell those.
yeah,
It,
I think
yeah.
that is a great way, especially if you're starting out, is to find people, clients, and just tack on an extra couple thousand to whatever it is you're selling them into, and make sure and confirm that they're available for the dates, rather than selling the one-off. It's a little bit
Yeah.
easier, I think. But
Well, and I've shared on here before, people start, I call them a day treat. You don't even do an overnighter. Start in your own backyard where you just rent a space that's nice and have, maybe you do 3 hours of it is teaching and learning, transformation, whatever you want to call it, that you're
yeah,
doing. And then you bring in a sound healer if that's what you want for relaxation, or a massage therapist, or whatever that looks like. But just having a day to figure it out. And also surveying, don't what would you say about surveying your audience? I see you still do it on social media. You ask questions,
I
right?
do.
And people
I
have
answer.
no clue what you're doing unless they know what you're doing. And I
I don't
love
get
it. Every time I see it, I'm like, she's so smart.
Every once in a while, I'll get people to reply to something. I guess it just depends on how you ask it. But and yes, one days are definitely a good place to start. I don't necessarily think of a retreat as a one day. I just did one though, actually with the leadership team of a women's group that I run. So there was 4 of us, and we went to lunch and had a meeting for like 3 or 4 hours
Yeah.
over at this one place, and then we all drove over to another place and did like a little paint party. So we did the work and then the fun, right? And so that was
And I
technically
always say, to like, you work with a lot of speakers and help speakers. I always think if someone's an aspiring speaker, and that's a great way to be able to get people to know you so that you can get a community of people to follow you and do a retreat. But I think it's just getting up there. If you can't find a stage, I say create your own.
yes.
Figure out a
Oh,
way to
very
create your own.
if you're not getting booked to speak that often, for sure, you want to have workshops and webinars and virtual summits and different things to be that expert and build a tribe and get people into your world. Another thing is so a lot of people want to have those destination retreats though,
Yeah.
and talk about that. I think, I mean, I've had quite a bit just in the US. I haven't gone abroad or anything just yet because honestly, 23 years into my business, I'm still scared to go and say, okay, we're going to have,
Yeah.
it's going to be $5,000 for 7 days and 6 nights in wherever. Now, I have a client who just did it and she got 20 people to go to Paris. I think it was
Wow.
Paris last year. This year they're going to France or Greece, I forget. And so she's doing slightly less because it was a little too much. But she involved a travel person who does these all the time, but she was already kind of knew what she wanted to do with the trainings, and she's really the one that will go overboard with gifts. So I said, when we were planning out the costs and stuff, I said, okay, there's cost of this, there's cost of that, but what about the gifts? Because I know you're going to go overboard. I know you're probably going to spend $200-300 per person on these amazing swag bags, maybe even more. So you got to put that cost into there, girl. And she did, right? So she made quite a bit of money on the first one. She's making less on the second one, but
Well, and it all goes back to people's why, because a lot of people, they think I just want to do a retreat because it'll be fun. Well, fun's fine until you lose a lot of money. But, that's
yeah,
fine if that's the model where you're not doing it for a business and you're looking for a trip with some girls and you want to create that and you don't want to make money. I mean, that's fine. We're just trying to give you different tips of how. I mean, your time's valuable and people should respect your time. And it takes a lot of time to put events together.
it does. I think that's why I like to do it within the annual group that I run because the people that I attract into that are like girlfriends and I have them over to my house and, I care about
Yep.
them. And so to go away with them, yeah, we're going to do some business, but we're going to have fun. And I just did one in Colorado last year. We rented a boat and we went out on the water and we went to like some comedy show and then we were doing business. Right. So,
Yeah.
it's, um,
Which are more masterminds, I would call them, right?
yeah, but it's still a retreat. It's a
Sure.
retreat.
A retreat mastermind. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Um,
another client of mine is doing one right now. She's going to Cancun. And okay, so I haven't actually talked to her, but I had given her this idea. I'm like, you just need to use your timeshare in your Cancun place, right? And she's like,
oh
no,
yeah.
I want to go somewhere else. And then I think she's doing it in her timeshare because she realized the cost, right? And the
Right.
savings that you could have by going there. And
Absolutely.
so having it this time, so she gets to come basically for free. She has access to all these other things. And so it's a
Yeah.
little bit safer, if you know what I mean, to, if she only gets 3 or 4 people, then it's good. She still hasn't lost any money, but obviously her goal is 10 or 12. And,
Yeah.
and, you can do different ones. You can do business, you can do health and wellness, you can do spa retreats, you can do all kinds of different creativity ones, visions,
Yeah.
passion ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
is a fun.
think it's unlimited what you can do. There's so many possibilities. I think that's where people get stuck. They're not sure. Go to
Yeah.
ChatGPT. It'll give you a ton of ideas. I
No,
mean,
don't go there. You'll get too many ideas. Go to a
that's
business
yeah.
coach, please. Please don't go to ChatGPT for ideas because you know how many ideas I have in ChatGPT that never get implemented because I don't share them with my team and then nothing happens to them. And I'm like, oh, I think I did something about that on ChatGPT, but I don't remember. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
ideas.
okay, then come up with 3 ideas and have ChatGPT help you dissect them. And then you've only
I
got three.
know,
Three.
but you really need to hire an expert about events because
Yeah.
ChatGPT has not retreat and they have not had issues with vendors and with locations and hotels and flights and like, no, don't do that. Like, don't do too much of that, please. For
That
the
is true.
theme
And when you get to the point where you have a
and
community, oh,
sales
sorry.
page copy, perhaps. Okay. But yeah.
Yeah, doing it and yeah, it does and I think when you build a tribe, I think it's really wise to let somebody else handle logistics, because that's a lot of the pieces that people don't care for, or that
Yeah.
they fall through the cracks, and then things don't happen, and you show up at your event and things weren't done, and you didn't even realize you didn't check all, cross all your T's, dot all your I's. And so our concierge service with Retreat R&R, for instance, that's one of our divisions that we run. And that's what we do. We come in and we do everything for you except fill the event. That's your community. That's your people. You show up, do your zone of genius and teach what you know and create it. And we just do all the work for you. So like when you get
Yeah.
to that point that's affordable, that's a whole different conversation. But when you're just starting out, don't
Mhm.
cut too many corners that you cheapen the experience, because people are
No.
paying for that experience, and you want to make sure you deliver what you say you're going to, which is all part of the why and the beginning of the copy, right? I mean, the copy's important.
Yeah, and and the power of video and testimonials and all of that is really good. And so it is, like I said, a little bit more challenging to write that
Yeah,
sales page with the first one, right? So you got to be really creative. I love helping people write that initial marketing copy, sales page, because to get the right people in and or figure out how to find those people, it's not about just posting these days. Like most
yeah,
things that are high priced aren't selling on social media. Not people aren't going to
right,
click and buy a $3,000 retreat when they
yeah,
don't know you. They're just
yeah,
not going to, it's just going to be very rare. I don't want to say not because anything's possible, but it's going to be very rare that someone who doesn't know you is going to buy something really high priced on social media. So you have to
yeah,
get really creative and you have to have a little bit longer of a launch pad. Okay. So to usually we used to say with a live event, you want to market 6 months in advance. With a
right,
virtual event, you want to market 3 months in advance, right?
yeah.
Some
In
people
a
are only
retreat, I would say minimum six to a
minimum.
year.
And it
Yeah,
depends on how much it is and where it is. If it's abroad, like you're going to
yeah,
a different country, it's a year. And
yeah,
especially if it's 4 or 5,000 or more, it's going to be a year. You need a really long payment plan. You need some engagement things along the way. My friend who did the Paris trip, she had little Paris parties with her women that went before, during, and after.
yeah.
And she would send them gifts in the mail and all that stuff. Now so
She's
she
doing
went
it
right.
right. I mean, that's where the concierge service can help out too, is we have all that help. We have all that communication going on. I love it. And I think it's so important after the retreat. Like a lot of people just think, oh, it's over. Phew, I'm done. And it's like, really, that's your community. You want to stay in touch with them. You want to have an after, party with them, and what everybody loved about it. Let them come talk about it after. And there's just so many little tricks that you can do that brings that tribe together, because guess what? If it's your first one and you make them happy, what are they going to do? They're going to go tell everybody, and then they're going to want to come to your next one. And a lot of times you get repeat people
Yeah.
coming to your retreats over and over, and they're always different. You could be teaching the same content, but with different people, they're always going to be different energy. And I think it's a skill. Can you help people with some marketing copy? I mean, is that something you could offer?
I help marketing copy and website copy and email copy and video copy with almost every client I do for anything that they're selling, because a lot of people just don't have the words. And I've been in sales. I think I grew up. I don't know. I don't know how I'm so good with sales and marketing wording that doesn't sound sales and marketing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I do it in your voice. So I just get to know the client and their style, their personality, and then I can talk through it in a
yeah,
way that makes more sense. Of course, yes, you can get some from Chat GPT, but then it'll look like it came from Chat GPT, right? It'll have
yeah.
the little,
That's
we're going to
true.
skyrocket. It'll have this thing, and it'll have, in conclusion, I think you should, and oh my God, it's just, yeah, don't copy verbatim from there, please. Because
No.
we
Well, and people can check. I mean, there's too many checkers now that tell you if it's AI. I mean, I have
That's
nothing wrong with AI. I just think it's a starting place. And for me, it gives me ideas. Like I have the idea, I put it in there. If you ask the right questions, you can get me and Chat GPT. We have a love-hate relationship. Like we've had fights and everything on. I mean, if you read some of my stuff, you would be cracking up. You'd be like, this sounds like two people that are literally talking. I mean, it's funny. I tell it I don't. No, you told me that already before, and I don't trust you anymore. Yeah, I really owe you an apology for that, and I own up to that. Thanks for calling me out on that. I mean, it's hilarious. So,
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
yeah,
Yeah. I
and
haven't gotten that.
it resolved a problem that I have been focused on, not a lot, but for like 3.5 years, well, maybe three. It solved it for me. Like it was like, oh my gosh, I gave it enough information and it gave me this scenario back, and I was like, oh my gosh, it like shook me to the core because I was like, how did I not figure that out? And you did. I even said that to ChatGPT. Anyway, I don't know. I should think of my own name for it because I feel like it has it has come up with some cool things. But okay, so then yeah, so your information is going to be in the show notes, and they can reach out and get a hold of you and see what else you can do. I know you give so much time. I mean, that people don't pay for. I know you do. You're a giver, and you have so many different projects for entrepreneurs, really at all levels. But what would you say in the retreat industry, if a retreat leader is listening to this, where you could help them the most?
Um, I would say really getting clear on what you're doing, how you're selling it, what your offer is. The just figuring out the combination, right? Because either you're going to sell a high ticket and include it, or you're going to sell the retreat and then you're going to sell high ticket from it. Too many people just underestimate all those opportunities to take a next step with somebody. And so I look at all those things and how you're selling and pricing and figure out the best combination for
Yeah.
you and your lifestyle and all the things, right? So yeah, it's just kind of like a double check, like getting a second opinion on what your plan is, and then helping you implement it all. Mhm.
Just having someone as a sounding board, I mean, just a coaching call for something like that, I think would be really valuable. And just having somebody to bounce off those ideas and things. That's why coaches are so important, because it's just hiring somebody that's been there, done that. At least I hope people hire someone that's been there, done that.
Right. And at any stage too. And a lot of
Yep.
people will say, "Oh, I'm just starting. When I get my feet wet, then I'll come
Right.
and see you." Like, you want to talk to me before you do anything, because I can save you years, and years of time
Yeah.
and thousands of dollars. Just
Yeah.
like,
I'm working with a mentor. I've told you about him before. He's been amazing for me. And it's amazing because he wants to find people that been there, done that, which what I just did. And I sunk a lot of money into building my tech out and did all these
yeah,
things that weren't necessarily in the right order. And I would have saved myself, well, I'm going to dare say over 100,000 easily. If I would have talked to him and known him before, he would have said that. And he's just dying to find more people like me that he can find them before they spend that money. So it's the same
yeah.
scenario in any kind of business. You don't sink a
You
bunch of money into something. You don't know what you don't know. And
know,
sometimes you get the wrong advice. So
yeah, when they
yeah.
put like $30,000 into something and it doesn't work because they didn't know what they didn't know, that just breaks my heart. I don't want to see that. I
So
try to
what's a
catch them.
big encouraging moment, words of wisdom that you could share with the listeners?
I think, um, I mean, people need to hear what you've got. They need to hear your message. And
Mm,
so don't be afraid of doing retreats. I know I kind of scared you off in the beginning. There's a time and a place. And
yeah.
you may not do your ideal retreat as the first retreat. So
Yeah.
be a little bit more realistic is what I would say. Do a couple starters or build on what you're doing to get to the big one. You know, everybody in this day and age kind of wants it yesterday. They want everything to happen right away, yesterday, and they have no patience. And business is, you have to have patience to be in business, to build a sustainable, consistent money making business. You can't just be willy nilly flying off the handle doing whatever you want whenever you want it without a clear path, in my opinion.
So what would you do to get a clear path?
Well, but if you don't get help, I mean, it's, eh. I mean, you got to get advice. Like, I'm not just trying to sell coaching here. That's not the
Yeah.
point,
No.
but it is the answer,
Yeah.
right? It is the answer. I think it's also important to have the right tech and systems and back end of your business before you do anything like this. Have an assistant or two who can also help you with all the things, because there will be a lot of things when you're doing an event or a retreat.
Yeah.
And set it up the right way from the start instead of just, going for the big thing without, and then you're going to be in chaos when you got all these, hopefully you got some leads coming in.
Well, you're paying
So,
one way or another.
yeah.
So if you just start the right way, you're right. Later you look
Yeah.
back, I was trying to save money, but if I wouldn't have done that, then
Yeah.
then this
And
wouldn't happen. So live and
trust me,
learn.
like I just had a client and she's like, well, I've got this editor or this editor for the book stuff, right? And I said, well, and this one's this much and this one's twice as much. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, I had another idea for her to save her a bunch of money. And so I told her that I want someone to save money. I want them
Yeah.
to do it the most affordable way.
Yeah. I agree. And that you can find help at all different levels, right? So I think it's just
Yeah.
using your own intuition, because we all have it, and listening to what your gut's telling you to do, and then moving forward, but taking action. And if you've been thinking about doing a retreat, then let's just do it. Put it on your calendar, get a date, and then work backwards from there with all the details, what you need. Okay, well, that's the end, I guess, for today. Until next time, we'll drop a show every Wednesday. So come back and see us often. And we thank you, Katrina, for sharing your words of wisdom today with us. And we'll see everybody next time. Bye for now. Thank for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time.